Jiu Jitsu athletes, are you ready to take your performance to the next level and dominate on the mat? The secret to getting stronger so you can win more matches and get injured less is finally revealed. There is this very special type of strength training that is absolutely crucial for every Jiu Jitsu competitor. And it's often talked about by the biggest names in the sport, such as Gordon Ryan and John Danaher. It's called isometric strength. I'm gonna break down how you can incorporate isometrics into your training to improve your ability to dominate and positionally control your opponents on the mat. So get ready to step up your isometric strength so you can become the next jiu-jitsu powerhouse. Be sure to watch all the way to the end of this video because I'm gonna teach you how you can master isometric strength so you are better prepared to win more matches and get injured less. What's going on, guys? My name is Josh Settlage and I am the BJJ strength coach. And before we dive into going over isometric strength in jiu-jitsu, I had a free gift that I wanted to send you. To learn more about how you can build strength specifically for jiu-jitsu, click the link in the description below and you can download a 100% free 4-week strength program. Now let's talk about how isometrics can help level up your jiu-jitsu game. Gordon Ryan has stated in multiple interviews that he's really not the most athletic guy in the sport of jiu-jitsu, yet he is still the greatest no-gi grappler who has ever lived. What's the secret? Gordon has become a master not only of the technical skills in jiu-jitsu, but also a master in the use of isometric strength to hold perfect positions on the mat that lead him to victory. Isometric strength, or isometric tension, is essentially the force that's created within the muscle to hold a specific position against resistance. Within every muscle action, there are 3 phases. The eccentric phase, which is the lengthening of the muscle. This takes place when you're descending in a squat or lowering the bar on an exercise like the floor press. The isometric phase, which is the point at which the muscle stops lengthening or shortening and is at a complete stop. This takes place in the split second that you stop lowering the weight just before you start to press the weight back up. And the concentric phase, which is the actual contraction or the shortening of the muscle. And this occurs when you're lifting the weight back up or actually flexing the muscle. Jiu-jitsu is a sport in which 2 athletes compete to establish control that leads to a submission. And in order to establish control that leads to a submission, you're gonna need a ton of isometric strength. There are 2 different ways that you can train to improve your isometric strength: yielding isometrics and overcoming isometrics. Both are important to include in your training, but knowing how and when to use them is the real key to making the most strength gains. Yielding isometrics are when you're using your muscles to hold a specific position against resistance. For example, every time you establish frames against your opponent in jiu-jitsu, you're essentially performing a yielding isometric. You're not actively pushing through your opponent, but you're also not letting them get any closer. You're holding and maintaining a specific position against the resistance of their body weight and their pressure. Yielding isometric training can be used to build strength and recover faster from injuries, build more muscle by increasing time under tension, improve mobility and stability in different ranges of motion, lead to increases in explosive power, improve lactate buffering capacity, and increase local muscular endurance. Here are some simple ways you can begin incorporating yielding isometrics into your current strength training. During some of your accessory exercises, add a 1 to 2 second pause at the hardest part of each exercise. For example, if you're performing goblet Cossack squats, add a 1 to 2 second pause at the bottom position of each rep. This will help improve overall hip mobility, as well as increase the strength and stability of the musculature surrounding the hips, knees, and ankles. To stimulate greater muscle growth, you can also add a pause at the bottom of an exercise such as the dumbbell bench press, which will help you get an even bigger stretch at the bottom position, as well as increase total time under tension, both of which will help with stimulating greater muscle growth. Overcoming isometrics are when you're applying force into an immovable object. And this is great for training your body to learn how to apply the maximum amount of force possible without actually moving the load. For example, when you have a fully locked in rear naked choke, you're not moving your arms in the same way that you would if you were to finish a Kimura or a heel hook, but you are looking to apply the maximum amount of force possible against your opponent's neck. Overcoming isometric training can be used to increase maximum force output, increase your rate of force development, which essentially is the time it takes for you to go from 0 to 100 when producing maximum force, stimulate the central nervous system, increase the total amount of time that you can apply maximum force, and also maintain strength and decrease muscular atrophy while you're recovering from an injury. Here are some simple ways you can begin incorporating overcoming isometrics into your training. Instead of performing a standard floor press, you can set up pins in the power rack and perform a similar exercise where you're pressing an empty barbell into the pins. Bring the bar in contact with the pins and then gradually begin to ramp up force until you're pressing with maximum force into the pins. You can also grab a medicine ball and perform various strangle holds on the ball for sets of 5 to 10 seconds. For each rep, look to gradually ramp up force until you're applying the maximum amount of force you possibly can into the medicine ball. Here are some real-life examples of how I've used isometric training to help competitive jiu-jitsu athletes just like yourself perform better on the mat. During a preseason strength phase where we're focusing on developing yielding isometric strength, I will often have my grapplers perform pause squats to help improve mobility and stability while in the bottom position. This will often look like working up to a 3 to 5 rep max of a standard squat, followed by some back down sets where we decrease the weight and perform 2 to 3 sets of 3 to 6 reps, adding a 3 to 4 second pause at the bottom. For the upper body, I'll often have them perform bent over alternating dumbbell rows and have them perform a 2 to 3 second pause at the top of each rep. During the last several weeks of training leading up to a big competition, I'll often have my grappling athletes perform overcoming isometrics as part of their peaking protocol for competition. This will often look like performing a floor press against pins for about 3 to 4 working sets. On each set, the athletes will spend 5 seconds ramping up to 100% force output and spend a total of 5 seconds applying 100% of force output into the pins. For the lower body, we'll often perform a med ball adductor squeeze where they place a med ball between their knees and perform sets of 15 to 20 seconds applying maximum force into the med ball. Again, spending about 5 seconds ramping up to 100% force output and then looking to maintain maximum force output for the remaining 10 to 15 seconds. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Josh Settlage and I am the BJJ Strength Coach. And to learn more about how you can get stronger, like we just talked about with isometric strength, so you are better prepared to win more matches and get injured less, click the link in the description below and you can download a 100% free 4-week strength program. To learn more about how you can enhance your jiu-jitsu performance, you can watch this next video right here.